Alex Eala's payback against a rival who bent the rules was ruthless, precise, icy, and unforgettable. Rafael Nadal witnessed it firsthand, and his reaction afterward rippled through the entire tennis community. This wasn't just another match. It was a 20-year-old Filipina standing alone in enemy territory. Hostile arena, hostile atmosphere, hostile momentum. The officiating felt relentless. Questionable calls piled up. Her rhythm was disrupted again and again. Felt like more than pressure, it felt orchestrated. They tried to take her gold medal. They tried to fracture her focus. They tried to steal a moment her country had waited 26 years to witness. What they received instead was something far more powerful. They witnessed one of the coldest, most controlled, and emotionally crushing displays of mental resilience women's tennis has seen in years. And the full story of what unfolded in Bangkok is even more remarkable than the headlines suggested, because that golden afternoon didn't begin there. To understand why that match cut so deep, you have to rewind far beyond the 2025 season. You have to return to the very start of her journey. The athlete who stood in Thailand in December 2025 wasn't forged in a single year. She was shaped by years of sacrifice, the kind that rarely makes highlight reels. Alexandra Eala was born on May 23, 2005, in Quezon City, Philippines, a nation known for boxing champions and basketball heroes, but not for producing top 50 WTA tennis players. Tennis, for much of the country's history, felt like someone else's sport, someone else's dream. At just 13 years old, she left home and relocated to Mallorca, Spain, to train at the Rafael Nadal Academy. Pause and picture that. 15. Thousands of miles from family. New language. New culture. Training daily against elite prospects who had been raised inside professional systems since childhood. While most teenagers were navigating school exams, she was navigating survival inside one of the toughest development environments in global tennis. The academy didn't just refine her strokes. It built something far harder to teach. Emotional discipline under fire, the ability to absorb injustice without imploding, the instinct to respond not with outrage but with execution. And that's exactly what Bangkok witnessed. Some qualities can't be timed, tested, or measured on a stat sheet. They're forged. At the Rafael Nadal Academy, that forging philosophy came straight from Rafael Nadal himself. A champion who built his legacy not just on talent, but on an almost unbreakable refusal to surrender a single point. That mentality, relentless effort, emotional control, competitive fire, became part of Alexandra Eala's competitive DNA. She had trained there since she was 13. And as her 2025 season exploded into something historic, Nadal quietly followed her progress. The connection between a global icon and a young Filipina chasing unprecedented milestones became one of the most compelling storylines in tennis. And what a season it was. She began 2025 ranked number 147 in the world. She climbed to a career-high number 50, becoming the first Filipino player ever to crack the WTA top 50. She posted 40 wins against 26 losses. She earned over $900,000 in prize money. She defeated Grand Slam champions. She reached her first WTA final. She lifted her first professional title. In just 12 months, she transformed from rising prospect into a continental icon, arguably one of the most talked about players on the entire WTA tour. But all of it, every ranking point, every trophy, every standing ovation, was building toward December 2025, toward Bangkok, toward a gold medal match that would test far more than her forehand. December 18, 2025 National Tennis Development Center, Nonthaburi, Thailand. 33rd Southeast Asian Games. Women's Singles Final Southeast Asian Games Philippines vs Thailand. Visitor versus host nation. One gold medal on the line. Across the net stood Thailand's Manankaya Sawenki, the home favorite, backed by a roaring partisan crowd. The atmosphere was electric before the first serve. Eala had battled through Malaysia's Xiaomi Leong in the quarterfinals and Thailand's own Naklo Thosaporn in the semis. Filipino supporters had made themselves heard throughout the week. But the final, this was different. First set. Statement made. Eala came out clinical, ruthless, Locked in. 6-1. The score looked dominant because it was. But it wasn't casual. It was controlled aggression layered over discipline. Gold was within reach. Second set. The disruptions begin Game 2. A clear ball called out. Game 3. Another questionable decision. Game 4. A third call so indefensible the chair umpire overruled it. 3 consecutive erroneous calls. The murmurs from Filipino fans grew louder. The Thai crowd roared anyway. Eala didn't explode. She didn't dramatize. She walked calmly to the chair and professionally requested the line's judge be replaced. No theatrics, no meltdown. Just controlled insistence on fairness. The official was replaced. But the gamesmanship didn't end. There were claims of unusually long breaks. A locker room visit that halted momentum. An insole change mid-game at 15-love. Precisely when Eala's rhythm was building and the finish line was approaching. Momentum is everything in tennis. Interrupted enough times and even great players fracture. But the girl raised in Mallorca doesn't fracture. She sat in her chair. She breathed slowly. She focused on her strings. Not a single crack. The finish tied at 30 in the 8th game of the second set. She ripped a backhand winner to take control. Moments later, her opponent faltered. Final score. 6-1, 6-2. Comprehensive. Clinical. Undeniable. Despite the noise. Despite the interruptions. Despite the attempts to disrupt her rhythm. She didn't just win. She closed the door. And somewhere watching, whether from afar or through updates, the philosophy of Rafael Nadal had been validated again. Because champions shaped in that system don't crumble under hostility. They narrow their focus. They compete harder. And when you try to take something from them, they make you pay for every single point. Brutal. Precise. Clinical. Bangkok wasn't just a win, it was a statement. But what makes this saga even more gripping is this. Thailand wasn't the first time someone tried to shake Alex Eala on a massive stage. Just 4 months earlier, under the brightest lights in tennis, the world saw something eerily similar unfold. Only louder, bigger, and broadcast to millions. August 2025 US Open. Main draw debut Arthur Ashe Stadium, the biggest tennis arena on earth. Night session energy. 20,000 fans. Global broadcast. Across the net stood Denmark's Clara Tauson, the 14th seed, a former Grand Slam champion, seasoned, powerful, experienced. On paper this was simple. Rank number 75 wildcard versus elite seed. Young challenger versus proven winner. Valiant effort. Respectable loss. Curtain call. Nobody sent Eala that script. First set. Shockwave, she took it 6-3. Not lucky. Not scrappy. Authoritative. Clean. Fearless. Tauson answered in the second 6-2. Now it was a third-set battle inside the loudest arena in tennis. And that's when things turned electric. The comeback, Eala trailed 1-5 in the decider. Most players fold there on a debut stage that big. She didn't. Point by point she clawed back. 4-5. Arthur Ashe was buzzing. Then came the moment. At the net, Eala flicked a reflex volley. It wasn't clear whether her racket crossed the tape, which would have made it illegal. Chair umpire called for review. Silence. 20,000 people holding their breath. Clara Tauson staring. Eala waiting. The replay confirmed it. Clean shot. Point awarded to Eala. Now 15-40. 2 break chances. And that's when the eruption came. Tauson exploded, challenging the decision loudly, demanding explanations, refusing to move on. The crowd turned restless. Boos echoed. The delay stretched uncomfortably long. And here's the extraordinary part. Eala was the one whose shot had been questioned. The review went in her favor. The entire stadium was buzzing with controversy. Yet she stood there. Quiet, controlled, emotionally neutral. No gestures. No eye rolls. No theatrics. While the higher-ranked veteran argued. On the sport's biggest regular season stage, the 20-year-old from Quezon City looked like the adult in the room. Why this matters. Bangkok showed her resilience in a hostile national environment. New York showed her composure under global scrutiny. Different continents, different stakes, same outcome. When chaos rises, she shrinks the moment instead of expanding it. That's not accidental. That's years at the Rafael Nadal Academy. That's the psychological imprint of Rafael Nadal. The philosophy of controlling only what you can control. Some players win with talent. Some win with power. The rare ones, they win with emotional discipline that makes opponents unravel around them. And by late 2025, the tennis world was starting to understand something unsettling for her rivals. Trying to rattle Alex Eala doesn't weaken her. It sharpens her. The stage flipped. The veteran unraveled. The 20-year-old steadied. Imagine that pressure. Grand Slam debut. Packed stadium. Opponent shouting at the chair. Crowd buzzing with tension. And you need just a few more points without blinking. She didn't blink. The set surged into a tiebreak. Back and forth. Heavy blows. No margin for nerves. 7-6. 7 points to 6. Alexandra Eala closed it herself. With that swing, she didn't just win a match at the US Open. She became the first Filipino woman in the Open era to win a Grand Slam singles main draw match. 2 hostile environments. 2 controversies. 2 attempts to disrupt her. 0 cracks. And then came Rafael Nadal retired on November 19, 2024. Exactly 1 year later, he stepped back onto a court, not to compete, but to train with her at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca. Let that symbolism breathe. The fiercest competitor of his generation. The embodiment of mental endurance. Returning to the court beside the player who mirrors his spirit. He posted afterward, "It felt great to be back on a tennis court. Great to practice with you, Alex. Next time I will be stronger." Over 14 million followers saw it. The moment exploded online. Didn't feel like content. Felt like acknowledgement. Eala replied simply, "Back like you never left." 4 words. Effortless. Familiar. Real. But the deeper signal came earlier. After her Miami breakthrough. After she beat elite names back-to-back. Nadal didn't wait for ceremony. He messaged her directly. Her words. "It was the first time he ever messaged me personally. I only saw it a couple days later. It was exciting to see his notification. 6 years at his academy. And that was the first personal message. That timing matters. Because he wasn't reacting to hype. He was reacting to how she handled fire. After her win over world number 2 Iga Swiatek, he wrote publicly, "We are extremely proud of you. What an incredible tournament. Let's keep dreaming. Let's keep dreaming." From a man who built a career on refusing to surrender belief. That wasn't casual praise. That was endorsement of character. And it went further. Her coach Joan Bosch described Nadal stepping into practice sessions voluntarily, offering insight. At one point he told her, "This used to happen to me too." Think about that. A 22-time major champion recognizing himself in her battles. Crowd noise. The hostile atmospheres. The momentum swings. The emotional traps. He saw it because he lived it. And that connection, that identification, is the heartbeat of this story. Not controversy. Not drama. Not viral moments. But lineage. The same philosophy that powered Roland Garros' dominance now showing up in a 20-year-old from Quezon City refusing to fracture under pressure. Bangkok proved she can win amid disruption. New York proved she can win under global scrutiny. Nadal's reaction proved something even bigger. The mental framework is real. This isn't accidental toughness. It's inherited discipline. And when a legend like Nadal publicly aligns himself with a rising player, the tennis world notices. Because he doesn't attach his name lightly. So here's the bigger question. If she's already demonstrating championship nerve before entering her prime, what happens when the physical peak catches up to that mindset? Because Rafael Nadal understands that feeling better than almost anyone alive. Being doubted. Being underestimated. walking into an arena where the crowd, the conditions, and the momentum are tilted the other way, and still finding something inside that refuses to bend. He recognized that same core in Alex Eala. He didn't just praise it, he named it. Then he picked up a racket and helped her sharpen it. The internet did what the internet does. Clips from Bangkok, clips from New York, clips from Mallorca. Millions of views, millions of comments. Filipino fans stitching together moments that felt almost cinematic. Except it wasn't a movie. It was 2025. The full picture of 2025. Step back and look at what she actually built in 12 months. She started the year ranked 147. She finished at number 52. The first Filipino player ever to crack the WTA top 50. She went 40-26. Earned over $900,000 in prize money. Reached the semi-finals of the Miami Open, taking out multiple Grand Slam champions. Reached her first WTA final in Eastbourne. Captured her first professional title at the WTA 125 in Guadalajara. Won her first Grand Slam main draw match at the US Open. And closed the year with a gold medal at the Southeast Asian Games in Bangkok. And here's the pattern. At every major moment, something tried to complicate it. Controversial calls, hostile crowds, momentum disruptions, pressure of representing 100+ million people. Each time the answer was the same. Adjustment, execution. The detail that matters most after all that. Nadal didn't congratulate her and disappear. He gave her specific technical advice, especially on her forehand, heading into 2026. That detail is huge. A 22-time Grand Slam champion sitting courtside in Mallorca at the Rafael Nadal Academy, fine-tuning a 20-year-old's mechanics. That tells you two things. He sees more levels in her. She's not satisfied. The resume is real. She's 4-4 against top 20 players. She's beaten Madison Keys. She's beaten Yelena Ostapenko. She's beaten seasoned veterans on the biggest stages. And she did it while managing injury, controversy, and the emotional weight of history. Those are not soft wins. Those are statements. Now comes 2026. Here's where it gets fascinating. She enters the new season seeded at major events. No longer a surprise. No longer underestimated. Opponents will study her patterns, scout her backhand, probe her forehand under pressure. The advantage of anonymity is gone. What replaces it? Expectation. And expectation is heavier than hype. But if 2025 proved anything, it's this. She doesn't crack. She waits. She breathes. She makes the request for fair officiating. She wins the 11-9 tiebreak. She closes 6-1, 6-2 when someone tries to break her rhythm. Then she flies back to Mallorca and works on her forehand. The revenge was never about humiliation. It was about becoming undeniable. And in 2025 she did exactly that. This isn't just a season recap. It's a case study in what happens when talent meets discipline, meets composure, meets a philosophy forged by one of the sport's fiercest competitors. Two hostile arenas, two controversies, two psychological tests. Same response every time. Cold, controlled, decisive. Nadal didn't just build an academy. He built a mindset. And in Alex Eala, that mindset might be entering its most dangerous phase yet. So here's the question. Was 2025 the launchpad? Or was it already the defining year? Because 2026 isn't waiting politely. It's coming fast.